Hi everyone, my name is Ailsa and welcome to another booktube video. The sun is kind of coming and going from between the clouds behind us, so hopefully it doesn't affect the lighting too much. We'll see how it goes. Today I am going to talk about some of the books that I would like to read in February. I am expecting to receive 2 more books for review, which I'll try to get to in the month. So I'm being a little bit ambitious maybe because I've got 5 books here. But I've just got a new job and my commute for that is a bit longer at each end of the day, so that's more reading time. So maybe I will get through them all. We'll see how it goes. I'm also making a renewed effort to read more in the evening. This is something I always used to do and I'd read for ages. But since living with my boyfriend, then sometimes he goes straight to sleep and I don't like having the light on to disturb him in the evenings. So we kind of got out of the habit of it a bit. But I'm making an effort to go to bed a bit earlier and get in my reading time because it really works for me as a way to switch off at the end of the day, be away from screens and devices and things like that to try and get a better sleep. So these are the books that I want to read in February. First of all, one that I'm about to start this week is Blood and Sugar by Laura Shepherd Robinson. This is a proof copy and I think the final copy has a slightly different cover. I think I've seen it looking a lot redder on other people's channels. And this book, according to the information on the back of my copy, this came out on the 24th of January, but I don't know if it actually did. I haven't looked into that. Anyway, a spring book. This is set in the 1780s in London, and it is about the UK's involvement in the slave trade and people campaigning to stop the slave industry and things like that. It starts out with someone with a body being discovered that has clearly been tortured, and someone whose friend who was against the slave trade having gone missing, and this man trying to figure out what happened. So it's a bit of a mystery, and it's set in East London. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. I love a bit of historical fiction, and I've read a lot of magical stuff recently, and there's a few fantasy books in my pile, so I think that'll be a nice change. The next book I mentioned recently in my 5 fantasy books I'd like to read soon video, and that is Graceling by Kristen Cashore. This has been on my shelf for a while. I'd heard of it probably when it first came out and thought it sounded really interesting, but didn't read it. This is actually my boyfriend's copy, and he really enjoyed it. I think it's the first in a trilogy. Either way, it's the first of a series, and I've heard really, really good things about it, so I'm going to get stuck into that one pretty soon as well. Next up is another book that I've mentioned previously on this channel, and that is Pages & Co. by Anna James. This is a fantasy story, and it is a middle grade book. In the UK, that's the kind of 9 to 12 market. We don't really use the term middle grade so much, although I have had it used a lot more in the last few years. This is a book about a girl called Tilly who discovers that she can travel into books, and she becomes good friends with Alice from Alice in Wonderland and Anne from Anne of Green Gables. I'm looking forward to this as kind of a lighter fantasy read and hopefully a fairly quick one. It is a gorgeous little red and gold book, and it has these fabulous end papers with lots of letters, and if you look under the cover, that's the cover beneath the dust jacket. It really is a gorgeous edition. So I'm looking forward to that. I think this is going to be a good one for me to read on my commute because it is going to be that little bit lighter, easier to dip in and out of as I make several connections to get myself to work. And then, again, to mix up my genres a little bit, because I have been reading a lot of fantasy recently, I have The Girls Beneath by Ross Armstrong. I actually have another book by Ross Armstrong kicking around on my shelves here, or I did for a while. I'm not sure, honestly, if I've still got it, that I never got around to reading. I picked this up at the HQ crime evening that they had in the autumn, and it's a crime novel about a policeman who had been shot in the head in the line of duty, but has recovered, and apparently it has given him an increased sense of perception, and he spots clues and angles in crimes that other people don't look at, and he believes that with this ability he is going to be the one to best solve the mystery of 3 missing girls. It's been a little while since I've read a crime book, so I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And then finally I have a book that has been on my shelf for a really long time. I picked this up while I was still working at HarperCollins, which is a little while ago now, which is Carrying Albert Home by Hickman. This is about a woman who used to live in Florida. She now lives in West Virginia, which I think is where she grew up. But when she came back from Florida, she brought a baby alligator with her. She's married, she's grown up, and her husband one day says, "It's me or the alligator. One of us has got to go." And the woman decides, her name is Elsie. Elsie decides that the only thing to do is to drive the alligator, who is called Albert, hence the title, back to Florida. And it's the story of their journey back. It sounds nice and lighthearted. I do think I will enjoy it. That's why it stayed on my shelves for so long, despite book culls at various points. So I am interested to see what it's like. But at the same time, because it's not the sort of book that I read that often, I'm aware that I'm going to try and give it a fair chance, get 50, 100 pages into it, and if I'm not enjoying it, I am prepared to set it aside. But maybe I love it. We will see how that goes. So those are 5 books that I am planning to read in February, plus 2 that I am expecting for review that you'll see soon in a book haul, once they've arrived. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these and have thoughts on them, or what you are planning to read soon. Leave videos in the comments if you've got videos talking about that sort of thing, and I will check them out. I will talk to you again very soon. Bye!